Anyway.
Hello, Dental 18 listeners. This is Kiera, and I am so excited because I've got Ryan Isaac on the podcast from Dentist Advisors. Ryan and I have this new great idea. I think it's going to be our new podcast. Honestly, we should try and do that, Ryan. But welcome, Ryan, to the show. I'm so happy to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. The new idea for the pod, I feel like we only have new ideas for podcasts. That's basically what we always talk about is like, I have a new podcast idea, and we have a lot of them. This one sounds good though. I really think this one will be awesome. So
yeah,
we'll make it
I'm
happen.
excited. And just so you guys know, Ryan and I, Dentist Advisors, Ryan, talk to them a little bit about Dentist Advisors. I want them to know, just, like, what exactly is Dentist Advisors? You and I talk all the time. Every time I podcast with you, I feel like everyone should know who Dentist Advisors is already, just because you and I feel like we're siblings. We've known each other for several years, but
Feels
I
like a long
never
time.
want to assume our audience knows who Dentist Advisor is, because you're literally my financial planner and advisor. Like, you literally are my advisor. Ryan and I have calls. I have a call with him every month. I have a call with him tonight after we podcast. I've got my whole little list of questions, but I'm not a dentist. So explain what you do for dentists.
Yeah. Well, first of all, you don't have a whole little list. Your list is usually big with questions.
8 pages typed.
But it's good. I like that. I will just say this for the audience. I think that people do get like, I don't know if it's like this in consulting. Do people get paranoid to use you too much? Like, oh, I'm using too much of your time. I'm really sorry. I actually think the problem is the opposite. People don't ask enough questions. They don't take enough time to like have discussions. Is that the same in consulting? Do you find like
100%? Well, hold on. I'll draw a line, because there are some that aren't self-aware enough to know that they actually are taking enough time. But those people, I tell everyone, I'm like, ask me, hit me up, ask all the questions. And if you're ever like overusing me, I'll let you know. Don't stress about it. So it takes that like stress away. Cause there are, I would say had 2 clients where I'm like, whoa, like we need to back this up. But I tell them,
pay me more.
Tell them, like, all right, we've had a few too many combos. But no, I agree, because I think they get so scared of that they don't want to be that person. So just lay it on the table. I tell all of our clients, like, use me. I want to be a part of your team. Text me, call me, any question that comes up for you, because then I know you're actually thinking about it. You're using me as a consultant. And if you ever become that person, I will happily let you know. But 99% of the time, you will not be that person.
It's
a surprise
rare.
bill.
Yeah. Rare to be that. I just didn't want to question shame you. I like your big list of questions.
No,
so
I don't stress. Because Ryan, I know there's a dual purpose to my questions. I know that 90% of the time, the questions I come to you with, you'll say, oh my gosh, Kiera, let's do a podcast about that, because you're like my client. And people don't know this.
People don't know. Okay, so who's Dentist Advisors? We started 16 years ago. We're what's called a fiduciary, no commission, fee only. It means we don't sell any financial products. We don't earn commissions from anything. And we only work with dentists. And did you know yesterday was National Dentist Day, by the way?
I did know that. We posted it up about it.
Yeah. Okay, good. It's been an interesting thing to reflect on that, thinking like the one dentist that got us into dental 16 years ago, he's still a client too. But people ask us all the time, what's the biggest financial mistake dentists make? And it's mostly just being really unorganized and having a life full of tons and tons of consequential decisions coming at them at all times. So we built a business around getting dentists really, really financially organized. We built some custom data metrics that tell a story of how they're progressing financially, if they're behind, if they're on track for their goals. And then we just make a priority, like we were just saying, to meet a lot and have really high amounts of communication, because, those things, organization, good data, and talking to someone a lot will prevent a lot of mistakes, prevent a ton of mistakes. And it sucks. It really sucks how much progress you can make and how long it takes you to make progress, and how one mistake can derail, like a 60-second mistake could derail like a decade of financial progress. So that's our goal. Help dentists make smart financial decisions. That's us.
I love it. I love it so much. And I'm actually so glad you said that, because it tees right into, I heard you guys talk about this when you and I met probably 5-6 years ago. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're right. Dentists are disorganized. Like, the teams are disorganized. And it's just that, like, everything's coming at us all the time. You're working in the clinical chair all the time. And so, Ryan, I have been working for the last 5-6 years to build something that's very complementary to what you guys do, in a way that's also about getting organized with the systems in your practice, with getting your team on board, with getting your numbers organized within. So I'm so happy you said that. And that's actually something new that we just rolled out called Practice Momentum, where it literally is a way to get super organized, get 24/7 access to consulting team, to be able to ask your questions, but to get the base foundation and then to be literally on a track. This honestly, my idea came from watching the Elements with dentist advisors of I need to get them on a track where every single month there's something that they can work on to get their practice systematized. So it doesn't feel like this daunting journey that I'm on. There's no way I'll ever be able to find the way. And so I'm super jazzed. Practice Momentum has been epic. They get 8 hours of access to consultants every single month. Plus we have like deep dives with other doctors. So you guys are just getting this like really inner circle to get organized, but also like dentists, I think in the financial world, for me, it's fun with you to be able to like talk about it. But as an owner, I don't want to have to like learn the systems on my own and then try and go teach the team. So that's, I think, where Dental Team's got the niche of we literally have it where we teach the doctors what the doctors need to know for business, but then teach the team and get your team bought into this so you don't actually have to do it. So doctors are literally raving about it. They're loving it. Of course, we still have our private come to you consulting as well, but that the whole idea of being disorganized, and it's no fault of your own, you're busy in the chair. And I think like you also haven't seen enough practices to know what are the systems I really need to put into place. What are like the number one things I need to work on right away? Same thing when I came to you. I felt like my finances were a mess, but I don't think it's because we're unorganized as humans. It's just we lack the knowledge because I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not an office manager. I'm not a regional manager. And so having ways in the financial world and then also in your systems, really, I feel like it's my great jelly to add to your guys' peanut butter because I wanted to make it where I know as a consultant, we can grow a practice and we can be a miracle grow for it to literally be the jelly that then prepares people to come to you with the finances available. Like we're going to teach you how to make the money and Ryan's going to teach you how to keep the money and like make that money work for you even more. So super jazzed about it. Super excited to have this. And we're just going to kind of dive into some financial literacy if you're on board with that.
Yeah, I am. But if we can just pause here for a second, I'm really curious about what made you. Okay, it's called Practice Momentum. Did I get that right? Practice Momentum. What made you feel like there was another layer of like organization at the practice level? Since that is such a huge topic, and it's like the least sexy, most boring thing to actually fix for someone that actually does make a huge difference. But where did that begin for you in like feeling like, oh, we need to get some more organization around certain subjects? And if you want to talk about what some of those subjects are, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, for sure. I think it was when I watched practices. I mean, consulting gives you a bird's eye advantage, which you guys have as well as financial advisors. You get to see hundreds of practices, lots of data, lots of numbers. And I have always loved puzzles and I love finding the pattern. And so I thought about like, okay, there's obviously patterns, but every dentist just feels like they're on their own little island trying to figure it out themselves. What if there was a way to like what you implement today would actually stick for the next like 1-2 years? Because I also noticed in consulting, we'd go teach a team. I'd come back in 6 months and 6 months later, I'm like, whoa, how did we just fall off the track?
Okay.
Like you were doing this and now we forgot. And I realized like human nature is natural to forget. And so if there was a way where it's linked in easy ways to each month, you don't have to think about it and remember it and try and get your team to remember it. It's literally on clockwork for you. And I think it came from like Mike McCallowix's clockwork. Like if you have things where they're set on cadences, life becomes very easy. You don't forget things, just like with you. I mean, I know I invest every single month. This is how much I'm doing. I have a percentage, but it felt hard at the beginning. And now I'm like, it's just clockwork. I invest every single month.
You are so good at it.
You sent me my gold star. I'm looking for it every month. So like, I think that that's where it came of just one, they needed to just have a cadence of how to put into place because they all feel stuck. It falls off the map with teams. That's human nature. I mean, you look at goals, look at history, look at human nature. We set goals in January and by March, they're already off the wagon if we've made it to March. And so just helping combat human nature, combat the stress and the need to always feel like I need to be systematized, but feel like there's nowhere to go. Just like with you in financial, I thought like, oh my gosh, like I don't know what I'm missing. And then it's also answering the question of, I don't even know what I don't know. Well, here's a whole list of 12 systems and a foundation of everything that you should be putting into your practice and then a simple way to do it. But then like, I don't know, I might be talking about scheduling in March, but I just lost my front office team. That's why I wanted it to be access to a consultant, ask consultants every single question that's ever come up, but then also hear from other offices so you can like avoid the quote unquote dumb tax of like, we make mistakes because we're on our own. Learning from other people and seeing what other people are doing, I think is one of the most beautiful things. I always think I want that like one-on-one, which I do. I want access to be able to answer my own questions. but learning what other people do. I mean, half the questions I've come to you with are because I was talking to other people and I heard other things and I'm learning what they're doing to grow their wealth exponentially. It saves me years of investment mistakes because I can learn from other people and watch them. I think it's a beautiful thing to have a community, but also a community of like-minded people who really are committed to growing and accelerating and then like helping each other out too.
Yeah. Okay. So, man, that's so cool. Is this something, this momentum product, is this something that goes in place of in-person coaching, or do people kind of layer it on? Was this like, you probably have a huge segment of the market that for whatever reason can't do in-person coaching? It's all probably timing, and it's got to work out. How does that layer with in-person coaching that you guys do?
Well, I notice in-person coaching, I love it because people come in and they have an immediate problem.
Really effective. Yeah.
Super
Yeah.
effective. And I love it. And we found that that it's been awesome. And I mean, we work with a lot of your clients, you work with a lot of our clients. It's amazing what we're able to do in person because we're actually able to see them. But I noticed my goal and my mission is to positively impact the world of dentistry in the greatest way possible. That's why we built the podcast. And so I thought, well, like physicalities of me being able to travel to practices and also price point was eliminating a big portion of the market that I wanted to find a way to serve. And I realized not everybody needs in person. Not everybody needs to have these calls all the time. And also clients who think they do. I mean, even myself with my personal coaches, I don't need calls all the time. What I need is a set cadence. I need to be reminded. And then I need to have someone I can quickly ask when problems arise. And so that's where it actually stemmed from. So some offices do layer it. Some offices just do it independently, but like as I built this product, and I mean, we spent hours recording and I worked with like smart people and we had our whole consulting team build it. And I talked to other people about different conversations and just trying to break it down and make it really fun and simple. I realized a lot of my private clients come in such reactionary mode. And I also wanted a way as a company to make sure I take them out of the reactionary mode and give them more systems so that way they stay out of the reaction and be proactive in their approach as well. So I'm excited for our consultants to have it as a resource now too for the in-person clients. But gosh, like I said, we released it in January and the doctors that are in there are telling me like, thank you for like forcing us to actually be disciplined and get this done because I think about it all the time, but I never have to do it.
Yeah.
And then you come and you hear other doctors doing it. I make them all post their numbers up. I don't let them hide behind a wall. So every month numbers get posted, kind of like in school. And it's never, ever, ever done with like shame. It's done with education, like literally, because I'm like, if you have to post them every single month in front of other people, that's great. And of course, like you can be anonymous. I don't care. I just want to make sure they're tracking their numbers, but then also use that data. We go through it. We find all the offices that have the lowest labs. Let's share the ideas of why do you have the lowest labs? Why do you have the lowest supplies, production? And then you can actually start to see your progress. Because honestly, Ryan, when I see my progress with you of like my investments actually making a difference, like the work I'm doing today, actually making a difference, that's the momentum you're looking for, which is why I named it Practice Momentum. Because it's the small, like you just need the little snowball and then you build the momentum and then it becomes very easy. But it's like getting started, I think, is the hardest part.
Yeah, and sticking to something. I'm wondering as you're talking about this, does the does like turnover and some of the team issues that people are having in the industry, does that affect the implementation of coaching and the systems you're trying to put in place? Like I imagine you show up and everyone invests so much time and effort and money into building something in a practice, but then if one or two key people leave, which seems to be a recurring issue a lot of people are having, that could disrupt like months of progress or even years of progress. Do you find that like turnover? And it sounds like this momentum thing actually would kind of stop some of that problem if that was happening. Is that a thing?
So I think it's an excuse.
Okay.
And I think it's where it's just the easy path. And I'm very pro, and everything I coach on is we build systems that are not dependent upon people. I hope those people stay with you for 20 years.
Yeah.
But that's also where it does need to be a system and it does need to be written. Like I cannot imagine, I'll just use McDonald's as an example. Maybe we'll go to Chick-fil-A. I prefer Chick-fil-A.
You go to Starbucks? Oh,
okay,
Chick-fil-A is fine. Starbucks or Chick-fil-A.
Starbucks.
Right, let's go Starbucks. Okay.
I cannot imagine Starbucks being like, well, we just lost Kiera as our barista. Shut it down.
Yeah. Sorry, we don't even know what a latte is. Kiera's gone. Yeah.
I mean, I just can't imagine. So I look at these bigger businesses and I'm like, they're truly built on systems. And then they allow the humans that are being hired to have their own personality and add that flair, but not the system flair.
Not
and
the
so
system
when a
itself. The
practice
delivery comes
yes,
from the human. Yeah, that's the art of it. But yeah.
exactly. So I think that that's where I've just noticed, yes, it can be. And yes, it does disrupt culture a little bit. But I'm like, if other industries can do it, why can't we? And so everything that we coach on, every single thing, it's a written document, it's a form, it's laminated, it's a process, it's on a cadence. So if that person leaves, the data doesn't go with them. The knowledge doesn't go with them. We work really hard on getting your operations manuals built. So if they ever do leave, because I'm like, the reality is people are going to leave. Like, I don't know why we're still in this day and age. I mean, I do it too. I'm like, oh
Yeah,
gosh,
like
someone just gave me a
shocked.
notice.
Yeah,
Like,
you're like, no, I never thought this would happen. Yeah,
like,
yeah.
but I don't know. I mean, humans go on vacation. Humans have babies. Humans want to travel. Humans change jobs. Humans move. Like that's nature of humans. So I don't know where we get this idea that people aren't going to leave us. I think we hope and pray that they'll stay with us. And maybe it's because like marriages, we think about marriages lasting, but I'm like, not all marriages last. And we think about families like, oh, well, my family, we're forever a family. So I think we almost take that personal side and apply it to work, but we have to remember this is a job and it isn't a family and it's not they choose to work there. Yes, but they're not, it's not something where this is a family, even though I think sometimes it has the illusion of feeling that way. So if I know and I can prepare that the reality is team members will turn over. That's a fact. And that's proven. Just like the stock market has proven that it will have ups and downs, but historically speaking, it will always have X% of return. Like, I think it's like a 10% return?
Let's go with that. Sure.
Is that historical?
Yeah, between 10 and 12% long-term returns.
I was going to say 12, but I didn't want to be optimistic about my investments.
That's fine. Be optimistic. Long-term is optimism.
Let's go 10%.
Nothing but optimism in long terms. Yeah.
But you know, Ryan, how I operate. I'm like, I'd rather plan for 10 because that's my worst case scenario. And then if I get 12, it's a great week.
10,
like,
put 10 in any financial calculator. It'll shock you how fast money grows at 10. It's insane. Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
So I think like if we know that that's what's going to happen, plan for it, prepare for it, and then hope and pray that your culture and that your team does stay with you, but realize they're going to turn over at some point. Being prepared, having the system so we can quickly replace, we can have someone come in and not disrupt, I think is where you actually get a lot of security and confidence and certainty while running a business with uncertain and unpredictable human beings there. But I mean, Starbucks, can you imagine? They're like, we're just going under.
Like, sorry, we don't have cold brew anymore because Johnny left. And it's like, wait, what?
It's ridiculous. And I understand because it's easy to be like, yeah, but Starbucks right only has so many drinks. I'm like, no, they actually have like a bajillion drinks. Like you got to memorize a ton.
All of them. Yeah.
All of them. But I think it's just like the simple standards. And I think we oftentimes try to make dentistry too hard. Where I'm like, reality is it's pretty simple. We have our billing systems, we have our scheduling systems, we have our treatment plan systems. That one I do think is a bit more of an art because you got to talk about money and like that. I think is there's a little more art to that. Setting up dental, like our procedures, they all are the same. Dentists are very predictable. They do basically the same thing every time. The tooth is different, the patient's different, but we really do about the same things. Doctors use the same shading almost all the time. Like it is very, very predictable. Hygienists, hello, let's take your x-rays. Let's do your FMP. Like, let me chat with you about your family. I'm going to scale your teeth. Like we do things so similar and very consistent, but we think it's so hard and complex that I'm like, let's make it more simple. Let's do more simple systems that everybody can follow. That's, I think, where the beauty lies.
Okay. So some of this reminds me or makes me think of the subject we were just talking about of burnout. And people leave jobs because of burnout. I mean, that's a thing. And then when people leave jobs, the people who are still there can feel that a little bit more. This subject, I think about this all the time. Let's talk about it for a minute. I don't know if this is something if you want to tease what you're going to talk about at our summit, the Dentist Money Summit in June, if you know what your topic is, it's the inside joke between you and I, though. You don't really know yet, and I don't really know yet. You got to feel it out. You got to be like closer to the event date, and then you feel the vibes of what the subject needs to be.
No, Ryan, that's how it used to be. Dentist Advisors has upped their game, and I'm not allowed to do that anymore.
we don't let you? Oh,
just like you're not really allowed to do that with me anymore either. Yeah. So Ryan and I are both at each other's summit.
But it's like 2 weeks, though. Like we're going to record for your summit in like 2 weeks or something. So
I know
that's like pretty short notice.
It is short notice, but I already had your information mapped out, just like your team had their information of what they wanted me to do.
Very corporate these days. Yeah, very serious.
I love it, though, because, I mean, I think so. Dental A Team Summit, Ryan, you're speaking at that. That's on April 26th.
Yep.
Ours is the Prosperous Dentist, Strategies for Wealth and Wellness, which I really love. And that's about this burnout topic. And then at your guys' summit, it's Living Your Rich Life. It is, what is it, June 25th, I think, if I remember right. Is that right?
It's like the 21st and 22nd.
21st and 22nd.
Yeah.
And you guys are having Living Your Rich Life. And
Yes.
I'm so excited because what I'm actually coming for is we're going to be speaking, and I'm actually really, really jazzed of the topic, is my content is going to be basically of, you're actually going to be asking me questions. And so I was like, all right, less slides, more pictures. That way Ryan can ask me anything he wants.
Okay.
But I'm going to do like 4 to 5 case studies of different like practices and highlight them of what they've done to live their version of a rich life. And so like it's on production, it's on collections, but really how every one of these, and I'm going to have some like really large practices and really small practices and what they did, like highlighting their offices of the themes. And so like of the thousands of offices I've consulted and like, what is the balance that these dentists are looking for? And like, what do they all actually have in common? So I'm going to pull out some common threads between all 5 of the practices. And then like, these are the top 5 things that I've seen to give that like these dentists have it all together. They've got a balanced, rich life, because I think you and I would both be able to say, it is very easy for me when I meet a client to know, are they going to be living their best rich life or are they going to be struggling? And it's crazy because I do believe that there's a DNA of successful practices. And I believe that these leaders have very similar traits, but they aren't born that way. They develop them. And that's what I'm so excited about, because I think so many of us look at people and think like, oh, they're the only ones that can do this. But to show that they evolved over time, like, yes, they did have some natural talents, but all of them have very similar patterns amongst all of them. So that's what I'll be chatting about in June with you guys.
Okay. You are really planned out. That's far. That's like 3 months away. That is far.
They made me.
They made you. We forced your hand.
Chip, he's on it. Yeah, I get emails
Chip
from him.
and Becky, yeah, they'll make it. They won't let it slide. If it was up to me, I'd be like, I don't know what anyone's talking about. We'll see you tomorrow. Yeah, and it'll be awesome. Okay, so let's go back to burnout then. It feels like such a thing man, I've been in this career for almost, it's been 15 years, and watching my clients get older and through their career, hit mid-career, later career, it becomes a thing. I don't think I ever understood how much the burnout affects the field of dentistry. Physically, it's been shocking to watch people deteriorate so quickly, physically, mentally, emotionally. It's a conversation you have all the time. I have with my clients. What do you want to say about burnout? And man, like, how do you even address that? Because it feels so multifaceted. It comes from so many directions,
Yeah. So, Ryan, I feel quite impressive on the Dentist Money Show today because I'm actually bringing an article, and I don't usually do a lot of research. That's more you than me. Okay. I know, shocking. And it's actually from PubMed. So like, I actually have an article that talks about burnout, and it's called Understanding the Burnout Experience, Recent Research and Its Implication for Psychiatry. And this was written in June of 2016. And what I found from it is that burnout, like there's 3 pieces. And when I heard this on another podcast, I was like, I got to go do some more research on it. But there's actually 3 pieces that are like the signs of burnout, because it's like, well, am I actually feeling it? Am I not? Am I just tired? And so the first one is they've like found it's like this little trifecta. And when they're all in place, like you really are at burnout, and then some solutions for it. And so the trifecta is overwhelming exhaustion, feelings of cynicism and detachment from the job, and then a sense of ineffectiveness and lack of accomplishment. So being super, super exhausted, feeling like detached from your job, like just a little cynical about it, and then a sense of ineffectiveness and lack of accomplishment.
Wow.
And as I heard that, I immediately thought of my husband at his job, and I was like, oh my gosh, he's checking every box. Like Jason comes home every single night with 0 energy. He's just like, Kiera, I need to veg out and watch TV. He's becoming more critical of his job, and Jason has always loved his job. He's always been like really happy with his profession, and he loves being able to like treat patients that have like really, really, really life-threatening conditions. And then like feeling like you're ineffective and never getting things done. And I'll hear him say like, I just feel like I can't get things done. I just feel like I'm never checking the boxes. And I was like, oh my gosh, like you're like textbook from
you're like all 3, buddy. Dang it,
and
Jason.
So Jay, I'm sending out the life route, because then what happens is then people get more and it just gets deeper
It
and deeper
compounds.
and
Yeah.
deeper. It compounds.
Mm-hmm.
And so in the article, they actually did talk about some solutions for it. So like with exhaustion, take more breaks, which I feel like we all like, and all of these things, I think it's very easy to quickly say, oh my gosh, no, I'll never be able to do that, or I can't do that. And I think like, let's reverse that and say, how can we do this? How can we actually find the solution? So can you create more breaks? Put in vacations.
How many high performing dentists do you know who don't even take lunches?
They don't even pee. Like, let's talk about it for real.
Breaks.
I didn't take, we didn't pee. You got to do, I didn't even drink water, because if you drink water, then you got to pee. And it's like this like whole thing of how do I actually do this? And so adding in breaks. And I think it's crazy because we have this illusion that I've got to work harder, work more, but the opposite is actually true. I see dentists who work 3 days a week and they're making more than dentists who are working 5 or 6 days.
Yeah, I see that all the time. Mm-hmm.
But so I think more breaks, scheduling your vacations. And what I love, and like we teach this in Practice Momentum, I teach this to all my doctors, like scheduling your vacations that you want, and then let's figure out how much time you have off. We actually have a really cool calculator where you put in all the projections of like, I'm going to be off this many days. I've got these providers. This is what we're producing on average, our hourly production. And it will tell you what you're actually projected to do for the year.
Is this on your website somewhere?
We have it. People can email in hello@thedentalateam.com, but it's something super really rad. We should put it on the website. I should have more of these downloadable forms. I'm going to make a note of that.
Hello. What are the email? hello@dentalateam.com.
Hello at the Dental A Team.
Okay.
We're really fancy.
Email them and get your calculator, folks.
Yeah. It's awesome.
That's cool.
So like go put in the vacations you want to take, and then we figure out your production, and then we figure out your overhead, and then you can actually see like, oh my gosh, I could actually take these vacations. And so that's a way to help with the exhaustion. Walks outside, exercising, they've proven it. And then even like working less, like sometimes they've proven that 4 days of work are more productive than 5.
You've probably seen that over and over, right? The doctors who like get better systems, more efficiency, they scale back their time, and they're like, why am I making more money and life's better and my job's fun again? It's crazy. Yeah,
but Ryan, here's my question for you, because this is where my caveat is, and I think it's just a fun discussion between you and me. This is what I bring to my financial calls with Ryan. Ryan is more, I think, a therapist that convinces me not to make dumb decisions than he is about advising you where to go. It's just like, no, like just don't mess it up. Keep the cash. Don't spend, like don't botch it. Once you get to this level, just don't lose it.
I don't feel like I do a lot of convincing. I feel like I just have a million questions every time you ask me stuff, and then I'm like, I ask you a million questions, and then we just kind of forget about it, move on, go back to the basics, and keep going. And it's working for you so far, so you're doing good. Yeah.
So here's the question, and I think you are such a different perspective than me, which is why I want to ask it. We say like work less, take more vacations, but there's 2 pieces I think people feel, which is where I think burnout often stems from, is one, guilt. Like I'm gone from it, which I actually think it's not guilt. I think it's ego, if we're being completely honest, of thinking like, oh, it can't run without me. Like, no. All of us are replaceable. We are. Yeah. But also like, I think it gives you purpose, right? If we think we can be replaced, then like, what is my purpose here? And then 2, hypothetical, because you and I talk about this often, like, okay, I've got my financial freedom. I've got everything. Like, what the heck am I going to do with myself to have purpose? And that I think is a fear I at least have. I think you would surf, so I don't think you have this same fear, but like, what would I honestly do if I cut back that time? Because I think it feels very scary if you don't even have a plan of what you do.
Yeah, it is such what a timely question, actually. It's such a huge topic we've been talking about. First of all, people say that to me all the time. Like, do you wish you were retired so you just surf all day? I'm like, can you swim all day long or run all day long? Because I couldn't surf all day long, even if the conditions were fine, which they're not all day long in Southern California. So no, I couldn't do that all day long. But this is so timely. We just went to a conference, Elevation Association. I can't remember who it was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right. You know those guys. It was
Jared
like
Hill?
Jared Hill, life balance kind of discussions for a week, and the 2 most common. I'm going to say this wrong. Either the 2 most common times in life of death or extreme sickness, one of those 2, was birth and retirement, within a year of retirement. We've been talking a lot about, there's a ton of data on the decline of people's so many factors, their health, their mental, emotional well-being, their purpose, and when they're done working. And like I was saying earlier, the longer I go in this career, the more I'm convinced, for me personally, and for my clients, that no question the best thing we can do for ourselves financially, like our biggest asset, especially dentists, is to work as long as possible. It doesn't mean 5 days. It doesn't even mean clinical. It just means how long can you extend your career as long as humanly possible. Any little bit of income is such a gigantic help financially. Not everyone wants to hear that because not everyone loves being in their
I literally
career.
felt like I just got shackled with
Just
bags of
punched in the gut.
I have to seriously work till I'm 90. Ryan, we have a plan. That's not my plan. But is it because I see the financial benefit, but I'm wondering, because I mean, a lot of people get their wealth, Ryan. They don't need the money. And
even that.
Okay, tell me more.
Even
I'm listening.
so much data. And I think everyone's got an anecdotal story of someone, even if they're wealthy, who pretty close to the time when they were done working, within a year, they could notice physical, mental, cognitive declines. We all know people like that. Man, they used to be so young and spry and fit, and they go outside, and then they retire, they've got their money, and then all of a sudden, like nothing. Their health fails, they get sick, they're not doing the traveling they thought they were going to do. There's a ton of research and data that just shows how meaningful work is to us. And it doesn't mean your career, but it definitely means there's a piece that work fills in our lives that I think as society sometimes we get a little bit like, oh, I have to get out of this as soon as possible, which might be someone's thing, but it does need to be replaced with something else that's meaningful, that challenges us, that keeps us involved with other humans, that makes us think, challenges our brains, makes us be physically active. So
can you give me some ideas of what those things are? Because I think I hear that, but in my mind, gosh, confessions of Kiera Dent on the podcast.
Here we
today.
go.
Here we go.
We're gonna get serious now.
Calls.
Yeah.
But gosh, I feel disgusting saying this out loud. So just know this is real raw today.
This is real. This is good.
It feels like I oftentimes really struggle doing things that aren't financially bringing in money. It feels like a waste of time. It feels like a waste of effort. I'm like, well, I can spend 30 minutes watching TV or 30 minutes and I'd make X amount. And so how do you one, what are those things that are going to be mentally stimulating with people? I'm like, you can go to the gym, you can pick up a hobby, you can play pickleball.
As Kiera rolls her eyes through all of these examples, by the way. Sorry to all you pickleballers. It's a big group these days.
I don't even know how to play pickleball. It seams really fun. I played it one time and I was sore and I was embarrassed that I was sore because I'm well, clearly I need to do this more.
Yeah, I know what you're asking.
But how do you trick your mind? And maybe you just have to go do it, because to me it feels like such a waste of time, even though I know I'm in burnout and exhaustion.
No.
But it feels like a waste of time because I feel like I'm taught that time is money. And if I'm not making money and I'm not producing, I'm a freaking schmuck that's getting lazy on the couch.
Yeah, well,
there's honest. Here we go.
No, this is good. I think we should patch in a therapist here because I would like to know some of these answers too.
Okay, good.
I think a lot of this stems from probably just assigning something to good or bad, right or wrong. And I don't think that's true. I actually have a lot of clients who have retired, and it's just a value thing, right? You have a value somewhere. And I don't know what the word would be around this value. There's probably a lot of words. There's a value somewhere around creation, around wealth, around entrepreneurship, around building things. That's a value, and it's a strong value, and it's very strong in some people. And usually we see that show up in entrepreneurship and business success. I don't think for a second that means that until you're 90, you can't keep making money in something. I have a lot of clients who had all the success in the world, sold their practices in dentistry, and then they got into real estate or other ventures. They started other businesses, ice cream shops, charities. I just got off the phone with a client yesterday who has a very large community charity he runs. You know people who do this.
Right.
So I think what you're asking is more of just aligning your values and then staying busy in those values. And so for me, yeah, I would eventually love to just be hopping around to warm oceans around the world and surfing warm water. For you, you'll probably be 97-year-old Kiera, running some businesses and some charitable organizations
and
staying very business oriented, very involved in entrepreneurship, in leadership, in running teams and organizations. But that's just a value. It's not a right or wrong. That's just a value. And I think the whole point is just always having something in our lives that respect and honor our values and feed those values, and that give us fulfillment and purpose, and then keep us busy, keep us thinking and busy, so that our decline isn't as rapid as data shows when we're just like you said. A lot of people work for 40 years and then they watch TV, and then it's well, if TV watching isn't your value, which it might be, no shame, then you will feel a gigantic impact on your health.
Right.
And I think that's my opinion on the subject. I don't know if that covers what you're saying. It's very deep.
It is deep. And again, this is why I love to podcast, because you get to have these deep combos with smart people. And I think it's just a matter of, as you said, that I feel, okay, if smart people are reading this and researching this, I don't know. I think mine is grind it out. I'm going to like power through, and then I'm going to hit this goal. And then after that, I'm done. But like, that feels like a little bit of death. You and I've talked about this
What
a
do
lot.
I tell you every time you tell me this?
Kiera, you're never going to be done.
You're
like,
never going to be done. I don't care what you say you're done. Like, you'll never, I don't care what the amount of money
Ryan.
is.
That's my burnout
not
conversation.
If you're doing something that you love and that is like feeding your values, and going back to the 3 things you found in this article, you're respecting and noticing those 3 points in your life and how you're feeling in them.
And I think that, like, for me, the thought of working until I'm 97 makes me kind of want to throw up. But I feel like but work is going to be a different look. It's not, I mean, my work today is much different than what it was when I was working as an office manager.
Totally.
And I think that there's also maybe
work optional though. I mean, think about it. Working if it's optional, and working if it's not for the money. Like, you don't need to save anything. You literally don't need the income, and you don't have to save any of it. That's a totally different thing too. Who knows where that'll take you?
And I think, as you said that, my thought was, maybe I believe that my life is going to be finite, and this stage of my life will never change. But I mean, my body looks different than it did 3 years ago. My relationships are different than they were 3 years ago. And so I think it might be a fallacy to think that like, this is how it's going to be forever. I do like the idea, because I'm like, no, there are dentists who are so fulfilled, and they come in and they work 1 day a week, and they go fly fishing, and they're seeing their kids, and like that work gives them some type of fulfillment. And so I think it's making me noodle, which I appreciate. I enjoy something that causes me to shift, because maybe I do want to start finding a thing on that 1 day where I'm not working that fulfills that in a way, because I have a day off on Fridays usually, but Ryan, I just like slip right back into work because it's easy, and I think it's something that I'm used to doing, versus,
and you're good at it.
I'm gonna join a pickleball team. Ryan, let's go.
I was just gonna say, I swear, I hope we see like the A-team uniforms, and paddles.
Actually, I think I'm just gonna come to Disneyland every Friday. I'm gonna get a season pass. You and I will meet up. Like,
just go to Disneyland every Friday. Those aren't great days to go to Disneyland, by the way. It wouldn't be that enjoyable after too many Fridays.
So I need to have my day off on Thursday. Got it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's such a good discussion, and you started talking about this in the beginning too, which is everything's finite, nothing's permanent, nothing lasts forever. It's funny, like, we all know where this is headed in life. I mean, it all ends, but we do live life as if that's not true, or we just like ignore it the whole time, as if nothing changes, as if we don't know where all this is headed eventually. It must be dark, but it's true, and you do have to come to grips with that, and then see how that fits in your life, and what decisions you'll make when you do acknowledge that it's not going to be that way forever. I don't know.
Well, and I think, as you said that, I don't remember which book it was in. I wish I could give credit to it. It might have been the EOS Life. It might have been Die with Zero. I don't remember which one, but one again on this subject of like my ultimate goal. I think about my later years. Like I told you before, I've always envisioned myself like up to 30, and then from like 30 to about 80. I don't really know that space. It's a total blur, because I'm like,
you're just like, that's so old. Who knows?
When I'm 80, I'm going to have cotton candy pink hair. I've always wanted jazzy with NOS. Tiff's going to have cotton candy blue hair. Now I may have upped it to a drone.
What's jazzy with NOS? Oh, like a jazzy scooter with NOS.
With
nitrous oxide. Okay.
I mean, I've always had a need for speed, and Tiffany's like, I'm just going to live long enough to watch you do this.
Okay.
So that, I mean, motivation in all facets. But now I'm like, there's drones, private drones. I'm going to be just freaking flying around the world in my own private drone at 90. Because like they fly for me. It's not like my license would ever get taken away. So I'm feeling good about that plan. And like, that just seems fun to me. Like that old cotton candy hair, don't care about anyone's opinions.
Nothing matters.
Nothing matters. I don't want cotton candy pink hair yet. I mean, it's going to be white at that point. Like, just imagine. So, but I feel like right now, as you were talking, I just thought, I know what I actually want my later years to be like. I want to be, I don't know, I hope I make it to 100, because I hate missing goals. And like thinking of dying at 99 just feels like I was so close to triple. So close, and I just like left. So
you'd be the angriest ghost over that one.
Could you imagine?
At 99 and a half, you'd be just pissed forever.
I like take off the day before I turn 100.
Everyone. Yeah, you'd be like haunting everything that has 100 in it. on a sign, anything. Like, yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah.
like, but I don't want to get to that age and have poor health and not be able to move and take care of myself and like be not living the life I want. Like, I want those later years to be rich. Like, I think I read in the book, it said the goal is to get to those later years of life. And maybe your last like 6 months, 2 months are where like your body starts to deteriorate. But up until that point, it's very vibrant, it's rich, like your mind is still strong. And so what can I be doing today? And I actually think burnout takes a toll on you. And I think not having your systems in place, not having a financial plan, those things are gnawing at the back of your mind. And so it's like cynicism, and then it's the ineffectiveness and lack of accomplishment where I'm like, you can actually put things into play. You can hire people. You can have like dentist advisors take care of your financial, like the amount of stress reduced, Ryan, by knowing I have a financial plan with you is something that I didn't even realize was causing the stress because I didn't know what that stress was being caused from. But I'm like, I know that we're on a path to where I want to be long term, that it alleviated it. And doctors who have teams that have systems and they don't have to worry about all of that, and it's on a path, and it's like, cool, I've got that checked off. I've got this checked off. I've got a team that I can delegate to. I'm doing things that are in my zone of happiness that I love, and I'm not taking on all these extra pieces. That really, I think, is where true like success and happiness lies. But I think we're often so afraid of changing, but I'm like, everything's changing, and maybe we just need to embrace change and realize it's beautiful as opposed to scary, and start executing on the things we know we need to do.
So much of this feels like so above my pay grade, but they're really beautiful questions and very deeply philosophical. Yes, to circle it back, you were just saying something that I was just thinking, which is there's a lot of stress in our lives that don't necessarily have to be there, that are easily outsourced to somebody else that can fix it like immediately. You've built an entire business around people outsourcing problems they don't have to carry, and to be honest, can't even carry well themselves because they don't have the time, interest, or experience, so they can't. And there's a lot of these that you can just get off your plate. And then there's a ton of them that no one can do for you. And that's all the personal work. That's a lot of the health stuff. And you should be focusing only on those things, mostly on those things, because if you don't now, they will pay, like health will pay dividends later on. You want to be pink haired and, riding dirty in a jazzy scooter, or being fast and or furious. I don't know, but
fast
it's
and
true.
Furious.
Yeah. Yeah. Good questions. This feels like setting up for a part 2. I don't know the answers yet, but we'll find the answers and we'll part 2 all of this.
I love it.
All the answers to life. Yeah.
I think like as we wrap up all the pieces, Dentist Advisors has the financial freedom path. And that's what we were going to talk about at our summit on April 26th of, I love how you asked me, what am I going to speak about? But I'm going to tell you what you're going to speak
just tell me what to do. Yeah, it was easier.
No, I really wanted you to come and speak to our audience of how they're going to be able to like keep the money. Because I think maximizing your money making machine so you're not dependent upon your business is beyond freeing, where you have other revenue streams that don't rely on your hands in dentistry to make you the money. And I think that's what I really want you to, because I feel like that's where the wealth and the wellness comes. Like that is really how you're going to build incremental wealth. And so I'm so excited about that. And I would say as a wrap up to all of this of like, if you're on the burnout, if you've got the exhaustion, the cynicism, the effectiveness and lack of accomplishment, look to see what you can delegate now. Get a path with a financial advisor. I know I was terrified. Ryan, you were so nice to me. I had no clue. I'm pretty sure I asked you questions that probably were a smidge embarrassing if I were to look back, because I had no idea what I was asking. But I think you were so kind and I never felt dumb. And I feel like that's what I love about Dentist Advisors is you guys just are so kind, but then you also set us up on a path of like, this is what I'm going to do. And it's very simple. And it's not a cookie cutter. It's like, you ask me, what are my interests? What are the things I'm interested in investing in? What are the things I'm learning about? And then you give me tactical knowledge. I'm like sending you all these things like, hey, there's this investment opportunity. There's this. And I'm like, but am I going to get burned from this? And having someone that I know I can trust and count on to help me have my truly rich life, as tying back to your guys' summit, is something I cannot put a number of the freedom I feel working with you. And so that's just why I would recommend like reach out to Ryan, reach out to Dentist Advisors. It's ryan@dentistadvisors.com, right?
Email me. Yeah.
Ryan doesn't take on private clients, guys, but he will take on anyone I send him. So definitely call and ask Ryan.
I will. That's true.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I love. I'm really glad. It's really timely, actually. The subject that you've kindly assigned to me for your summit. Which, by the way, what are those dates again, and where do people register for that?
It's April 26th, and everybody head on over to thedentalateam.com. So thedentalateam.com/summit 24. It's totally free. It's 2 hours of CE this year. It's shorter this year. It's not our normal summit. It's our 4th year doing it. And I wanted to shake it up to where it was a shorter one, more condensed. Ryan and I will be speaking. We've got a few other things coming your way, but 2 hours of CE free. It's a Friday, April 26th. Be there.
Okay.
I'm super excited.
Thedentalateam.com. Okay. So I love this subject because it's been on my mind a lot in my own career, watching my clients. We've been reading a few books as a team, just coincidentally, that have lined up on this subject. And literally, this is the least sexy thing ever that you could tell someone for success, but it's crazy how true this is in so many areas of life. It's just survival.
Mm-hmm.
It's just survival. The amount of people who don't make it past 5 years in entrepreneurship, the amount of people who don't stay invested in their stocks or mutual fund past a few years, the amount of people who don't stick with like a debt pay down schedule or a workout program. Like, it's insane how many highly, highly successful people can attribute to just surviving the masses, just not being one of the statistics that, like, didn't make it along the way. So I love this subject because the subject of keeping all the money that the Dental A team is helping people earn and make, keeping it has so much to do with survival, which is about mitigating your risks and not taking, too much risk or making dumb choices. I love this subject. There's a lot of really good stories and some good books that we've read recently that I'll have to just share with people when we do this. So I'm really excited. Thanks for having us. It's gonna be fun.
It's going to be amazing. So be sure. And then Ryan, how do people get connected to come? Yours is in person. Dental A team is virtual. So ours is virtual, 2 hours of CE. Dentist Advisors, it's their first one in person. How do people get registered for that? It's
a little bit of
epic.
A commitment. Yeah.
I don't go to many events anymore, and I am on the docket. I cannot wait to be there. It's going to be amazing. You guys put on incredible stuff. So I'm super excited to support.
Thank you. You can just go to dentistmoneysummit.com. It's all on dentistadvisors.com too. It's June 21st, 22nd in Park City. So the summer in Park City. I'm really excited for this because we have like world-class, like industry leading people like Kiera and the Dental A team that are going to be talking business, entrepreneurship, and like surviving in your businesses. A couple of our headline speakers though too they're non-dental. They're like of the motivational type and like really, really incredible storytellers, have some really just like powerful things to share. And they'll be just like fun and good times. And it's Park City in the summertime, which if anyone's ever just familiar with like the skiing part, like I like the summer in the mountains better than the snowy time. So
you and me both.
I'm really excited. Yeah.
I was like, good job on picking an amazing location. Park City. It's just stunning. So if nothing else, come for a beautiful getaway.
Just come hang out. Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of stuff going on. So excited to have you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the Dental A team, oh, by the way, I think I would probably be in trouble if I didn't say this. The Dental A team actually has a discount code to our summit. 25% off, and the code is DAT25.
Got it. So go register. DAT25. DAT25, join us. It's going to be fun. I'm going to be there. Ryan's going to be there. Like I said, I don't make many appearances in person right now. We're building up. We're building up. I just love to serve our clients right now. And so I'm heavy hunkered down on the business.
Yeah.
But this one's going to be awesome. I think it's going to be great. Me and Victoria, which is one of your advisors, and Ashley Hova's, we're going to have a women's like fire
money circle.
Basically. Yeah, I'm super excited.
It's called the money circle. Yeah. And I'm not going to be able to do it justice like Victoria could, but this is an actual program that's been trained from an investment research firm called Dimensional Fund Advisors, DFA. And they train these different like advisors. It's all women. And so they train these different women advisors to do what they call money circles. And it's like a pretty intimate money discussion, and the group's really small, but you guys are going to do that on like the Friday night or something with a small group of people. That's so cool. Yeah.
It's going to be awesome. And what I'm excited about as a female, I didn't feel confident investing, and I didn't feel like, I remember going to Ryan and just feeling, gosh, I get emotional about it, Ryan, because I think I just felt so inadequate. I felt dumb. I felt like I didn't measure up to men. I was super embarrassed, and I don't know why men intimidate me in the investing world, because I just feel like, I go to these conferences, I'm like, Ryan, I don't know what the heck they're talking about. I'm just pretending like, yep, I'll just go ask Ryan. But to be able to give women the confidence to be able to invest, I love that Victoria said that women are actually better investors than men. Like we stick with it longer.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I feel so much more confident investing, and that's huge kudos to you guys. And so I'm super jazzed, especially for women, because like we can invest and we can have financial success. And I think it's just a shift. For so long, women were dependent upon men, and I'm very pro. I love men. I love women. I think it's a beautiful synergy that both have. But to be able to give women the confidence when it comes to their financial freedom, I feel is just one of the most beautiful gifts. So I'm super excited about it. It's going to be awesome.
Cool. No, thanks for sharing that. I mean, since you just mentioned it, statistically, long running forever, this is just proven with data. Women are better investors. They get higher returns than men. They tend to take less risk than men in their investments, but they stick with them longer, which again, it's just survival. And women have this instinct. They've got it figured out. And it's probably why men are usually on stage, like yelling lots of complex, complicated things to just confuse people to buy investment products all the time. It's because they know we're not as good of investors, but so cool. I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm really excited for you guys to do that. That'll be Victoria's going to do a killer job. You guys are going to do so awesome. It's going to be fun to see.
It's going to be awesome.
I won't be able to see it, but you'll have a great time.
I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah.
All right. So you guys have two things. We've got Dental A Team. Head on over to thedentalyteam.com/sum24. Join us. It's totally free. Bring a buddy. I think it's awesome. We just wanted to do something to give back to the dental community. Cool. If we can help in any way consulting, by all means, reach out. hello@thedentalyteam.com. And then we have June 21st and 22nd in beautiful Park City.
Yep.
Head on over to the Dentist
Money Summit.
DentistMoneySummit.com and use DAT25 and come and be with us. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah. If you have any questions, email me directly. I'm happy to answer your questions. Ryan@dentistadvisors.com. Let's have a conversation.
I love
Thanks,
it.
Kiera.
Ryan, thank you for being on the podcast today. Everyone,
Likewise.
thank you. But go execute. Get rid of the burnout. Get rid of the stress. Hire a financial advisor. Get the systems in place in your practices. These are things that you have within your control, and there are people that can help you that have been there, done that, and done it successfully. So go reach out. As always, thanks for listening. Catch you next time on the Dental A Team podcast.